Hi, GenderqueerChat, it's Callie here. Um, it's Saturday, and this week we're talking about gender variance and the prison system. Um, okay, so I'm not sure exactly how much I have to say on this topic because I don't have any experience with it, and I've read a little bit about it, but I don't feel particularly um, qualified to talk about it. So, just what I'm going to say is just what I think on the basis of. I'm not going to try to overextend myself. What I think on the basis of that experience I do have, and just my kind of general beliefs about things in general. Okay, so number one. Um, this is how I'm going to structure it, so I don't go completely off track. Number one, I'm going to talk about uh, the right of people to express their gender. Number two, I'm going to talk about prison in general and what I think about that. And then number three, I'm going to try and sort of bring them together. Okay? So, first of all, I personally don't experience what is called gender dysphoria, or at least not in the kind of debilitating sense that a lot of people do experience it. If I am for some reason away um, from my makeup and stuff for a long period of time, then it will start to um, kind of get me down over a period of time. And once I do get back to my makeup and put everything on, I think, thank goodness, back to sanity. But it's not debilitating, and it doesn't induce kind of feelings of real depression and everything, for which I feel very fortunate, because it must be really, I can only imagine the kind of the extremes of it that some people do go through. And so it's that sort of reason why it's important that if someone feels they have a gender identity that they want to express, then everyone else around them should do whatever it is they can to allow them to actualize that. But even putting it that way, actualize is the wrong word, because as we know, um, your lived gender experience is already actual, is already real for you as you're living it. So you're expressing something which is already actual. And even thinking of it as actualizing, um, which I certainly find myself doing, but it's not making actual, it's making visible. And our actual lived gender experiences are so much more varied than they appear, and that fact is never going to come across and never going to be justly recognized and incorporated into things if people don't express themselves. And to do that, they should have the freedom to express themselves. It's not wrong if people don't express their gender for whatever reason, as long as it's their decision not to. And even if the decision is made on the basis of you think that someone might hurt you because of it, then it's your decision, and it's not going to be a wrong decision because it's your personal decision. But you might wish that your decision could be otherwise if external circumstances were different, and that's where everybody else in the world comes in. And so everybody should try and make things as easy for other people to express a range of gender identities as possible. Now, prison. So, in places like, I really strongly feel, first of all, that prison should not be about punishing people, because people do terrible things, but as the old cliche goes, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and we'd all be blind and toothless. Because even punishing someone who's done something like murder doesn't bring the person they've murdered back. And I don't think that it makes a murderer, and obviously I don't know this, but I don't see how it could make a murderer any more likely to repent just being shut up in prison. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be called to account for terrible things that they've done, but you know, if you're a human being with a conscience, then that's going to weigh on your mind, and that's going to prey on you wherever you are, whether you're sitting in a solitary confinement cell or whether you're doing some kind of community service or whatever. That's going to weigh on your conscience. And if you don't have a conscience, then if you totally truly don't have a conscience, then that's psychopathy, and that's a mental condition which you need, which is a different ballgame altogether. And I really strongly feel that, societies, if we're going to have a society, then it can have a right to protect itself, but not to punish or be vengeful. Punishment only if it is definitely a deterrent, and you should do things not because it makes you feel better, or it would make, or set up the rule because it would make you feel better if you were the one who had been wronged, or whose family member had been wronged or something. Then you shouldn't set it up that way. You should set it up to have the minimum possible number of crimes. That being said, that only goes when laws and sentencing penalties make some kind of logical sense, because in places like Britain and the US, prisons are full of people on drugs charges and things like that. And I'm not talking about like drug kingpins. I'm talking about people who are, the victims of addiction. And it only gets worse in prison because, drug use in prison is widespread. It's locking someone up because they're a heroin addict and they've been found with a lot of heroin on them. That's not productive. You should help them get better, not punish them for they might have had to steal because of their addiction, and that's not something they've done because they're an intrinsically kind of bad and corrupt moral agent. It's because it's because they're suffering from addiction. And that's just one kind of example of a way in which punishment by incarceration is not the answer. And finally, bring those two things together. It is not... If someone has done something wrong, that is no reason to take away essential rights and freedoms, unless that is going to help reduce the suffering, which you hope, if laws and sentencing penalties and everything are just, is going to be accomplished by reducing the number of crimes. So you have to maintain that freedom that people have to actualize them, to experience their actual selves as much as they want to, and make them feel as able as you can to do that. I feel this video has had a lot of very long sentences. I hope you've been able to follow it. Make them as able as you can to do that, while preserving, while still having the function of reducing crime. So if you have to imprison people, then you should preserve their ability to still be people, in as full a sense as is practicable. So I hope I made a lot of. I think that everything I said there to me is kind of self-evident, but I just wanted to string it all together because, reading things about this and hearing about the actual cases of people and abuse that trans people suffer in prison and things, I cannot imagine anything worse, any worse situation to be in. And whether you're trans or not, but especially if you're trans and you suffer from, and you can't just put your non-standard gender expression on hold like that, which I don't think many people can do. I don't really think I can do it, and I don't really, I don't find myself psychologically, crippled by it. So I'm going to wind up there. Not a light and breezy topic this week, but an important one, and one that needs to be talked about, and in our consciousness as much as possible. So hope everyone is having a good time, and welcome to the new faces that we've been seeing around the channel. See you soon. Bye.